going on, family? Kevin and Jesse here with you guys today for the Elite State of Mind podcast. As always, our goal is to listen, learn, and grow. Jesse, how you doing today, man?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I am doing amazing, family. What we are going to get into today, May, is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're just going to touch on today mental health and hopefully, talk about why it's or was so taboo, in our culture. Especially, I know, for us growing up, if you said anything about having depression or anxiety, it was followed up with a backhand.
Beat it out of you.
Right. It's because you was full of sin. But now I think there has been a good job and a good move, now towards, trying to understand some of these things.
Yes.
And the people are dealing with, real problems, real issues, and trying to get people some help. Again, family, we stress this all the time, that if you have some, mental health, problems or, whatever the case may be, again, go seek professional help. Don't, keep that stuff bound up in you. Don't keep it, suppressed and, just try to keep it, tucked away to yourself. And then the next thing you know, you just got to explode, either on you or somebody else. Mm-hmm. Jesse, when we get into mental health, what are some of the things that you have experienced, maybe in your younger days that, you would like to see changed?
Well, I think we're on the pathway to understanding that even as men, that we have mental health, I can't say issues, but more of a mental health awareness.
Okay.
Understanding that, my emotional intelligence has to be higher, and if it is, that means I have to pay attention to my mental health. Okay, so just knowing, like you said, we grew up in an era where your mental health was always fine.
Right.
There was nothing wrong with you.
You were too young.
Something was wrong. Yeah, you were too young to have any type of concern,
right,
or any type of
you were allowed to have
mentally.
Feelings,
or
other than happiness.
Right.
That was the only one you were given. Be happy.
You should be happy at all times,
right?
Even though that wasn't always the case,
Sure.
And you didn't understand, and you were trying to figure out exactly why I felt, the way that I was feeling, and there was not a space or place for that to happen.
Right.
So, we're having to unlearn that part of you progressing and growing in your manhood is to raise your emotional intelligence and to understand that mental health is a part of your particular makeup.
Right. And, like you said back then, especially for us as men, you were taught you can't show emotion. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't show emotion. If you do, you were found to be weak. Again, as we said, the only emotion you were given was happiness.
Right.
And then 9 times out of 10, the only place you were allowed to show that was in the arena of sports.
Right.
Right. Because if you were, it'd be so crazy. If you were happy about a book you read, people would look at you funny.
Right.
Whether it was, older male, figures or other male friends. Oh, you read? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
This was a good book. Yeah. They're treating you like you have some type of disease.
Pretty much.
But now they have the disease of poverty. Not going there now.
They have the disease of stupidity.
Right.
That's what they have.
So I believe there has been a very good, push forward in understanding that these things are real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And acknowledging, that people do battle with, depressions and anxieties and,
yes.
And it doesn't always have to be after a death.
Right.
It's not always after, sometimes these very, very tragic, events might occur. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just life kind of gets to people.
Right.
And it, can just kind of send you in a little, spiral of depression, or, you might get anxious about something. Because I believe at all points in life, we all get anxious.
Sure.
Whether it's, man, I got to go to I'm going to this new interview, or I'm going to, take this test, or I'm going to, try this new endeavor. And we'll become anxious about these things. But, for so long, it was just, I'm not going to acknowledge it. I don't want to deal with it. And then the next thing I know, I don't know where all these emotions have bubbled up from inside of me. And now what's my outlet?
Right.
And normally it's going to manifest in the negative. We're going to get into, treat people bad, lash out at people, act outside of my character. And then the next thing you know, I'm getting into it with folks and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
When, like you said, I think, the really important thing is, where's the space and place? Especially for us as men, do we create that space for each other?
Right.
As now us being, the older men, do we create a space for maybe some of the younger brothers to just understand, hey, if you need to talk, man, holler at me.
Yeah, I mean, that's key. It's important because I think with all that's going on, in the world today, they need a place to say, hey, let me put my hair down, let my hair down, versus just having to walk around with a facade that nothing gets to me and nothing is wrong. Like, it's okay to sit down and just say, hey, I feel some type of way about the death of George Floyd. I feel some type of way about this shooting that took place in Buffalo, New York a few days ago. It has to be, like you said, that space and that place there to know that, hey, on a daily basis you deal with microaggressions, and let me tell you, being 40, how we deal with this, how we make it to this particular point in time, and to be able to encourage them that, it will get better. But it only gets better if you actually acknowledge that there is a problem, right? The first step is to any recovery is to first acknowledge that there is a problem.
Very true.
Okay, so, you deal with all these things. Yes, we're going to acknowledge that you deal with it. And, even today, them being younger, they have all this social media pressure.
Yes.
That's what I call it. Like, they're supposed to be, millionaires and driving Bugattis and having the biggest house by the time they're 22. Like, that's ridiculous.
Right. And I think it comes from there. There are some, 22-year-olds.
There are some
that have found, their place in the market, and they're doing these things. But like you said, then you got, other parents or, older people looking at, Johnny at 16. Well, Johnny, why haven't you come up with an NFT that's going to make you, $4 billion by the time you're 18? Well, I don't really like NFTs. I just, want to do my thing. And now, like you said, now there's all this pressure, and we're the ones creating.
Yeah.
Some of these mental health,
definitely.
Concerns. What is it? How has it been? For you, growing up and now seeing that emotional intelligence is a wise thing to teach to the younger generation, that it's a thing that, one should be taught from a very young age.
Yes. Because
those emotions are there from birth.
That's right.
You come out, oh God, I'm a little scared. I'm a little shaky because I ain't never been out in the world before.
Right.
Now you're discovering all these new things, and every day you are experiencing every emotion. From I wake up, I'm happy, oh my God, or I wake up, I'm mad because I need to be changed, I need to eat. I fall off of something, I don't get something I want, or something attacks me that wasn't supposed to. This inanimate object. My son fell off the chair the other day, and now he wants to fight the chair.
Right.
Okay, well, calm down, player. You were standing on the chair, you're supposed to sit in it.
Right. Well,
but you have to learn, and teach to deal with all of these things. What has it been for you to see that needs to be something we should do, better?
I was just looking at it, having the desire to be a well-rounded and a complete man, that the level of emotional intelligence wasn't quite there. As I went through different studies, I'm looking like, okay, well, in order for me to teach a thing, I have to become it, right? So I had to look and see where I lacked in terms of emotional intelligence. Was I able to understand exactly what it is? Was I able to apply said principles to it, and just know that, hey, in order for the rest of, the community and circle to actually be where they want to be, then the emotional intelligence has to be raised, and I have to be able to communicate. So it went back to, okay, well, how well are we able to communicate? Well, the reason we get anxious is because we have these thoughts and these feelings that we're unable to communicate.
Very true.
So anger is displaced communication, right? So I'm not able to tell you what's going on. Like you said, if a child gets angry because you can't understand them, they don't speak the appropriate language so that they can tell you what's going on with them and what they need, and so that you can actually meet the need. So what do? I'll flip a table, let me throw myself down on the ground, and,
right.
But we see this happening with men
right
right now. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to tell you what's going on with me, but you're so used to me not saying anything or doing anything, so therefore you just kind of brush me off.
Right.
All right, then let me go slap some people around for a minute,
that's the thing is that as men, not only should we be emotionally intelligent, but we should also be emotionally available. Mm-hmm. Now, let me say this. I don't want anybody to go out there and feel like you should be ruled by your emotions.
Yeah, no, let's definitely preface that.
But, the availability to, one, share the experience with another, that, oh, man, you're sad?
Yeah.
I understand.
Right.
Back in, 2008.
Yeah.
I had a bout of that as well.
Yes.
Oh, you're depressed. I understand.
Here's my experience with that.
Right. Oh, you've had, a bevy of, whatever these, mental health, things may be.
Yeah.
We should be available to have some sympathy and empathy, with each other and be there and be available to make sure that yes, your feelings, your emotions are real. What you're experiencing is a very real thing. Mm-hmm. And like you said, now here's how we deal with that. Right. What do you think would be the positive, now that, the younger generation acknowledges it and that going to seek counseling isn't such taboo?
Well, what you're going to see is again, their level of communication is going to be more effective. Anything, the thing I respect about them as a younger generation is that they push the envelope on being heard. True. You're going to hear how I feel and why I feel what's going on. Mm-hmm. Now, we as the older have to give them a balance to understand, yes, we hear you, but your feelings cannot cause you to make a decision, because we don't make decisions based upon feelings, right? Based upon emotions. We're going to use these facts to make a decision, because if we're led by how we feel, by our emotions change every 15 seconds.
Very true.
So you can't rely solely on, the emotions. But, I respect the fact that they go, listen, I'm going to be heard, and we're going to talk about this thing to make sure that, hey, it's all out, it's all there, and we're okay. So I definitely respect that.
No, I agree. Like you said, they'll want to make sure that they get heard, and that they voice their feelings. For many of us, being older, if we would have had that same bravery, we probably might have had a little bit better outcome.
Oh, for sure.
In some situations in life, especially when you get into dealing with relationships and things of that nature. Like you said, that anger is those displaced emotions. And so often, because we won't say, from fear of losing somebody, from fear of making somebody upset, we won't say, oh, this angered me or this upset me or I didn't like XYZ. Mm-hmm. And now it's led to all of these other things. When the root of the matter, was it big? Yes, but it didn't need to cause this nuclear explosion that took place, because all it really needed was, hey, let's sit down. Let's have a conversation, and let's seek to be heard. Mm-hmm. And I think when we go back to the mental health awareness, so many people that are dealing with that, they have a want to be heard. Mm-hmm. They just have a want to sit down and have a safe place to get out their emotions. Because one problem that we had was where there was people that that were our age or people that were older than us. If you told them how you were feeling, well, now the whole church knew.
Yeah. Not only that, it was a sign of disrespect.
Right.
It felt like, oh, so what I had to say wasn't good enough, and so now you're talking back.
Right.
To know you're like, nah, I'm trying to tell you, what's going on. I'm trying to have a conversation,
a dialogue
with you. Mm-hmm. And no, like you said, versus having a conversation, now you've got the entire, group of people now knowing that I'm having an issue with stage fright or something.
Right.
And you're making the situation worse because you got all these other different people. Oh, it's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Stage fright ain't nothing.
really just magnifying the problem that existed.
Yes.
From in the first place. Because if I have something like a stage fright, do I need 50 other folks coming up to me?
You don't.
Shaking me, slapping me.
You don't.
It'll be all right, Johnny.
Not at all.
Just get on up there.
And what's crazy is at that time they thought they were doing what was best by getting you encouragement in the particular area, but that was not what was best.
Right.
Not at all.
And that's the thing. It's sometimes when people come to you in confidence and they are giving you, opening themselves up, being vulnerable to you, telling you what they're dealing with, mentally. That's a tough thing for them to do.
Yes.
Especially if they've been taught to be closed off and boxed off, and they may be they may have many emotional triggers that try to keep them from letting anybody else in. And then the first thing you go do is you break their trust.
Yeah.
Because you think, well, one, maybe you may be ill-equipped to deal with what they're going through.
Oh, for sure.
And instead of you saying, hey, I'm here to listen. I don't have a lot to offer in maybe terms of advice.
Right.
But maybe you should go talk to such and such. Or maybe you should go, but no, you just take it upon yourself to go tell such and such.
Right.
And now you ain't even told such and such the whole story.
Right. No.
You done put in some parts and some stuff that was made up.
Yep.
And now you got Johnny out here looking 10 times worse than what it actually was.
Pretty much.
Let me ask you this question. In terms of mental health, because I know you've dealt in this field, with young adolescent males. What is the importance for them in how you speak to them when they when they're coming in and we've both been in this and they're angry for whatever reason for life happening to them, circumstances, parents or teachers, whatever the case may be, but now they're in a place where they've made some mistakes. And the thing of it is nobody's tried to talk to them like people. What is the importance of how we speak to each other?
Man, it's like we said last episode and a few before, it's the gateway to building the right type of relationship.
Okay.
Especially dealing with men and adolescent males. It's going to allow them the fastest way to break the barrier and to earn the trust is to speak to them like you said, like you're a human being. I'm going to speak to you as if you have the highest level of value that I have ever seen. Because at that moment, the moment that we meet, when you're angry, when things are outside of your control, and you're not understanding as to why you're in this place, in this predicament, the best thing that I can do is just let you know that, hey, man, you have high value. I ain't worried about why you here, what's going on, what happened. Just know that you're valued right here, and I don't care what you want to talk about.
Let's talk about it.
We need to talk about it, whatever it is. I don't want to talk about it right now. Bleep this and bleep that and bleep that.
Right.
And your response should be, well, let me tell you, it's not how you talk to me. The president, do you know? No.
No, it's hands.
Right. No, now you know. Now you're trying to give him your best Roy Jones Jr. No, man.
End up being Cat Williams.
Pretty much. But no, it's yep, I understand. I get that. Go ahead, go ahead, man. Go ahead and get that out, man. However long it take, I'm gonna sit right here with you, and we gonna go ahead. It ain't making sense, but it don't make sense to me either. But go ahead and let that happen. And when we get it out, then from that point, now we're open to receive. Now, since the emotional level has gone from 100, now we're back down here to where we're on a 10. To now we can actually have a conversation to really think and process what's going on. So now you're able to tell me, okay, you were upset to that degree as to why.
Right.
What's going on. So from there, they're going like, okay, well, yeah, maybe you really do not just have an answer, but you just really care. Right.
I think care is one of the big things, to show and to really bring the awareness. Because so often, as we've said before, growing up, it was brushed off. It was, kind of swept under the rug. And that only, to act nonchalant about somebody coming and divulging these things to you or needing to speak to you about it. And you just tell them, oh, you be all right.
Right.
to not sit down and take 5 minutes, to take 30 minutes. You know, it might take an hour to try to get down through that thing, like you said, to weed through the emotions, to weed through, you know, what they have going on, to try to get to the root of the matter, to sometimes just allow them to acknowledge what was really wrong, so that they can hear, and sometimes they may then go, maybe I shouldn't have been upset to this degree.
Pretty much, you allow them to process. Right? You stop getting in the way, as if, you know, we as men do all the time. Well, I got the answer. No, that's not a place for you to have the answer.
Right.
Allow them to process what's going on, because they're going to lead themselves more often than not to the answer, and then from that point they turn to you and say, "All right, Kev, man, what do you think I need to do from this point, man?"
Right. It's like you talked about in conflict. You know, they've come to the solution that, okay, maybe I shouldn't respond in that way. And now they're in the place, like you said, to receive a resolution. And you can, and you guys can work on that. I think, you know, also one of the big things, and again, guys, I'm not a mental health professional, but, you know, to find some things and some outlets that are positive.
For sure.
You know, to get your emotions out, whether you need to write, whether you like to, you know, play instruments. You know, for many of us, you know, working out is one of those outlets. Excuse me. You know, all of these things that you can do to just, you know, to journal, you know, to get out your emotions. You know, some people like to create art, to do whatever it is, you know, you need to do to cope with, and to just kind of give yourself a chance to be in your thoughts, you know, at a slow pace.
Right. That's key.
You know, not necessarily just kind of, you know, zooming through, not truly reflecting. You know, you might find yourself, you know, needing to meditate. There are a lot of good meditation, you know, techniques out there, you know, and then, you know, you might find yourself meditating while doing yoga. You know, but, you know, breathing exercises are really great, you know, to help calm you down. And again, so when you're replaying whatever the event or whatever the emotions are, you know, in your mind, you can kind of take it step by step by step and really dissect the thing and go, okay, what was really happening to me in this moment? Or after you wrote it down, you can go back and read and go, oh, okay, I didn't even know that, you know, this person said X, Y, Z. I just got mad when they said, you know, A, B, C. And I missed the rest of the message.
That's mental and emotional agility and flexibility. To be able to, like you said, take the information and go, maybe I shouldn't immediately get upset. Let me work through it, and that's the tools that they need to have. They need to be given. That's the purpose of these, you know, what they term, you know, coping skills. Is what it is. We need to heighten our skill level more so than just, oh, it's going to be all right, Johnny, you got it. Man up. And that's, you know, it puts me in the mind frame of, obviously, you know, we all know AB, Antonio Brown, you know, the football player. And, you know, it's not that I don't know everything that happened, you know, this year when you know, Tampa Bay was playing the Jets, and, you know, he's going through what he's going through with Bruce Arians. But I did catch a clip of a podcast he was on with, it was Ryan Clark and I believe another athlete, and they were talking about obviously his days in Pittsburgh. Right, and he was talking about how, you know, Bruce Arians, you know, I believe he was offensive coordinator or, you know, coach on the offensive side of the ball at that time, you know, how their relationship was always had some friction, had some. It was always off.
You know, and I know for myself, I was guilty that when you saw the clip of AB, you know, tossing his pads off and, you know, doing, you know, waving to the crowd as he, you know, goes off the field, you're like, what's wrong with this brother? Why is he acting crazy? You know, but you don't understand because, one, we haven't taken the time to hear, you know, the entirety of the story between him and this individual. So, I mean, yeah, sure, it might have been something as simple as AB go back in the game or get the blank out of here. But if it comes with years of all of this,
I think it's a buildup.
And then who's taking the time? And again, obviously, AB has a history of some other things, but has anybody taken the time, like you said, to heighten the skill level?
No.
To, you know, to be there and say, hey, man, maybe in this you know, situational scenario, can we try to deal with it like this? Now, if they have, and he's just like, nah, I'm gonna do what I do, then that's on him.
It is.
But if they haven't, then obviously that falls back on those around him, and then us as a community to, you know, say, we need to improve the skill set and put more tools in the toolbox.
That's right.
So therefore, whenever these things do occur, you at the least have them available to you. What did you take from just seeing a situation like that? Because obviously he's not the only one that just dealt with that, but and especially sometimes as athletes they're not allowed to be not allowed to have human experiences.
Right. One of the first things I noticed, what I saw was just like there's a deeper cause to that. It just wasn't here's AB being AB again. No. Because if for the majority of the season and even the season before, when you sign him, you don't have any issue, obviously you've pushed a button.
Right.
Obviously there was something that has transpired. Like you said, the podcast gave a little background to it to see that, oh man, they got years of dysfunction.
Right.
Maybe they shouldn't have, after they won that championship, they should have just, we're gone.
Thanks for your service, big dog.
That's it. It's a wrap. And it's one of those things where, should AB have handled it, differently? Of course, he should have. At the end of the day, when you're in the middle, like you said, you're having a human experience and somebody just constantly is sticking their finger in your wound and you're telling them, hey, please stop that. That hurts. No, that's enough. That hurts. It's not getting better. That hurts. And they're just still steady. At some point in time, you're going to react.
You're going to have some type of reaction. And I think that's also sometimes the downfall of us as a people is we do things to try to get a reaction from people.
Yes.
But then we don't like the reaction.
We don't like the reaction.
Right? If you're out there, like we've said before, you're out there poking the bear, but then the bear smacks you.
Right.
Well, don't be mad at the bear.
Yeah.
If they weren't chasing you, if they weren't trying to hunt you down, if they were sitting there eating their honey and berries, being bears,
minding their own bear business,
and then you just want to keep throwing rocks and sticks and then come up and steal the jar of honey.
Right.
And then you get beat up like Leonardo in The Revenant. It's not the bear's fault.
It's not.
It's not the bear's fault.
It is not.
Just we have to be better at understanding and trying to make sure that we, present that availability and emotional availability and intelligence, one to another. Whatever it is, whatever walk of life you come through, because we're just all trying to make it day to day.
That's it.
We should all be out there trying to live our best lives and be our best selves. But you're gonna get a response. It's like you said, if you keep poking these people and keep doing these things. So Jesse, before we get out of here, what I want you to share with the family is what might be the first step in if you have a family member or a friend who may be dealing with some mental health things. How can we be there for them?
Just by letting them know you are available. That you're there to, not judge them, but just to walk with them.
Right.
I'm here, like, hey, I love you. I just want to be here. I may not understand completely what's going on, but I'm here just to walk with you.
Right.
And that's the main thing we need. Like, we have to stop as a whole being just overly judgmental, as if we have all the answers, as if we don't have any issues in life, like we haven't done some things that we probably should not have done. We got to stop that,
right?
Because like you said, if we're here to help one another to live our very best lives, to become the best that we can, then understand you're human just like I am. So every now and again, you go, you know what, your human is going to overtake, your spiritual self.
Right.
Understand that. Like, people forget, hey, man, we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right.
Okay, well, every now and again, that humanness is going to win.
Very true.
Okay? So just let them know that, hey, man, everything that you feel, everything that you're experiencing right now, whether I understand it or not, I'm just here for you. I'm here. I'm riding with you.
Okay. All right. Family, we sure do appreciate you guys for tuning in with us today. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to our Apple Podcast and Spotify. We'll talk to you guys later.